We're back, baby. It's time for the second series of the day. We've got EG Prodigies versus No Org. I'm still Niberia. This is still TJ. I am pointing in the wrong direction. Let me fix that. Mirrored webcams, folks. It's really rough. So, this is a matchup I'm really looking forward to, TJ. We've got some sick top laners on order. But before that, I think I'd like you to get a word in edgewise.
Edgewise.
Nice. I guess I would have also accepted in at that point, but that's okay. I think the number one highlight to talk about this, of course, is that both of these teams are coming from Amateur, and as Surenfire mentioned, Amateur came into this definitely underrated, and at one point, the head-to-head between Amateur and Academy was Amateur favored. It was 4-3. So, you know, just mention that, throwing that one out there. So that's why we're having the winners bracket with two Amateur teams going head-to-head.
Yeah, and I don't want to make this all about Amateur versus Academy, because I think it's important to get more nitty-gritty than that. I think that's a very easy overarching storyline, but at the end of the day, until, you know, horrible GM decisions happen, which could still happen at the end of this season, I think this should be about the players. The point of the Proving Grounds and what we have seen so far is that we are getting to see the depth of talent here in North America, and we're getting to kind of get more specific and get into what this next generation of talent should look like. And one of the people that has looked like an absolute monster over the course of the last couple of weeks and indeed months in the Proving Grounds circuit here in Amateur is, of course, Viper.
Yeah, Viper's coming in, of course, former LCS player, and is coming into these games just absolutely dominating. Lane after lane after lane, and you can see it reflected in these stats. Goal difference of 15, 1,126.
I do not see. It is not real. And so, some context to these. Obviously, Viper is a nutcase, and I cannot stress this enough. He is like playing top lane better than anyone else, and he deserves these numbers. But also, the team No Org plays to him. They put a lot of emphasis on boosting Viper out ahead early, and that is, you know, also reflected in these numbers. In a meta where a lot of teams are playing biased towards their bot and mid lane, Viper is receiving the benefit of a ton of jungle and mid attention.
This is what I feel like is the breaking point of this series, because Surdy is a fantastic mechanical top laner, but is not played to the same degree that Viper is. When he does, he tends to do a very good job and will mechanically dominate a lot of top laners. But he is a very bloodthirsty, engaged, focused top laner. So he will end up with a lot of deaths because he's the one engaging for the team. He's the one looking for angles. He's the one looking for fights. And that difference in playstyle results in that differential of stats. And that is what I think is going to decide the game, because whichever top laner comes out ahead is going to be affecting the game the most. Whether it's, you know, Viper coming in and just killing people in the side lanes, or Surdy saying, I'm 4-0 now. I'm just going to dive the back line to see what happens.
It's a mean comparison to make in the current community state, but I am going to flag Huni as a marker for Surdy, because the thing that people like about Huni is sometimes he just randomly finds 4 kills and wins the game. And Surdy does that. Surdy will occasionally be able to just scoop up solo kills in lane with no support and dominate the game. And sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes you get aggressive player not quite managing to convert on that aggression, which works in a team, EGP, that has other threats.
Yeah, you have a lot of options there. You have, of course, Shiro, who is the AD carry for EGP, and I think is one of my favorite players, not because, or not just because, rather, he's mechanically intensive and he's a good player, but mostly because, okay, let's cast our mind's eye back. In the last 10 games, he's played 9 different champions. 9 different champions in 10 games, and his team is still undefeated in the winners bracket.
I can
the man's
give you the
insane.
list. It is
All right, I'm ready.
Jinx, Kalista, Ashe, Samira, Ezreal, Varus, Xayah, Kai'Sa. I double counted somewhere along that line.
I forgot Seraphine. That's the one.
And Seraphine. Really kind of terrifying. The AP Varus as well. Just a hell of a ride. So EGP can play towards that bottom side, and if Surting finds a massive solo lane advantage, which he occasionally does, he's very good, then they absolutely win the game. Doubly so versus Nowhere, who are counting on that top side. But they can also say, all right, Sardi, you can take those risks because we have an insurance policy, which is part of why EGP just cannot be counted out of a game.
And I think it is a cool contrast to Noork, who used to play like this, who used to play with that unbridled aggression, but now have become a team that is much more about just like brutality. Just imagine some massive concrete buildings.
Efficiency.
That's what it feels like to play against Noork. It's just brutalist architecture all the way. Because what they do now is, instead of going for these super aggressive plays, instead of going for fight after fight after fight and eking away these leads, they'll say, okay, what do we want to accomplish, and what's the safest way to get there while still making plays? So they'll take these 3-man roaming squads and they'll head to the top lane. They'll head to the bottom lane. They have these incredible setups, and that's what makes them strong. And the linchpin for a lot of those is 5Fire in the mid lane.
Yeah, we've talked about 5Fire plenty. He was one of the top performers in the first season of League of Legends I ever cast at the Challengers Uprising Pro League. But he has kind of evolved as a player. We used to see him just be a terrifying lane bully, and he still is that. But the way that 5Fire fits into this team is even more important because he isn't the star. When he was playing on Anu and the team was built around Mike Young and 5Fire's mid-jungle duo, it was terrifying. But it was a stark contrast to 5Fire playing on Evil Geniuses, where 5Fire was still very good, but was kind of just playing control mages defensively, not taking over the map in the same way, and it didn't feel like he was providing better value than a lot of other mid laners who can also fill that role. What 5Fire has managed to do is blend the two styles, and coming now into this season, he's playing a defensive roam-focused mage that can also lane bully. And the fact that he can lane bully in any lane, in all 3 lanes simultaneously, because he's playing that style, is just almost unstoppable.
Yeah, it's why we got to look out in this draft. I'm looking for the TF ban immediately out of EGP.
Yeah.
We can only hope.
Surdy also deserves a ban on that Camille. You can see it there. I'm looking for the Twisted Fate. I'm looking for the Zoe if you're targeting 5Fire. We haven't talked enough about Anda, who does also form a linchpin of this no-work side. Again, they're very roam-heavy. They're very much focused on map control and efficiency, and Anda's constant value add in the jungle is a huge part of that. He's playing the meta, lots of Lilia, lots of Udyr and Olaf, so pay attention to that.
Yeah, I'm looking for EGP. The things that I find successful for them is when Surdy is on a lane bully that can be supported by Tomio. Tomio is the one who generally sets the pace for these games. Wherever he's ganking is wherever finds success, and everyone else knows, all right, it's time to hold on. And that can come from any lane. Most of the time, it's going to be either through Surdy or Shiro and Mist, because Mist is just like an insane support, and getting that bot lane ahead gives you a 2-for-1. But we've seen games recently, the last series, where Aspect was given that attention, given that time, and just absolutely popped off on his ear. So it is another 3-threat team, which I think is something that both these teams share.
Let's touch on the bans real quick. It is Udyr, it is Gnar. I almost said Renekton, but that is the first pick, in fact, for no org. EG, waiting on their second 2, cannot play either Hecarim or Thresh. So they grabbed the most meta jungler still in the pool, and that will be the Lilia, with both Hecarim and Udyr banned out, which has been the tone of the day so far, the flavor of the moment. Lilia is the most powerful jungle left in the pool for Tomio, and they also managed to get Shiro the Tristana.
Tomio's Lilia is pretty nuts as well. Really love to watch that one. I think what I'm looking for is a really good aggressive jungler from Anda, the Nidalee. He is one of the junglers where I see Nidalee and I'm like, okay, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. because he, like Contracts, is able to consistently deliver on the fantasy of this character, of making picks, of finding these very, very niche engages where you're not quite committing to the team fight, you're finding a kill on the side of it and getting back out. And I love that kind of Nidalee play.
Nidalee requires really good team coordination. It requires really good communication with the rest of your team in team fights, around map roams, and Anda has that. It's one of the similarities between this team and the one we just cast. I want to talk about EGP grabbing the Gragas here, because I'm assuming that's going over to Mist. Is that the case? Have you seen where this Gragas is going previously?
The interesting thing about Mist is, once again, I think this comes as an artifact of playing with Shiro so much, who plays all of these champions. Mist has a champion Ocean as well. You can see him on literally any engaged support. He does not like to play any kind of enchanter or anything, preferring to have that angle to find ways into the fights for the team. And having seen Mist play, that is 100% the right call. So Gragas, well within my expectations.
It is interesting to me that means Rel will hit the ban phase, which, I don't know, never thought I'd see the day. On the opposite side, there is a Xayah, which strikes me as a very defensive draft for value. We oftentimes see that no-org bot lane be kind of an insurance policy. It's there for team fights, values it, darn good AD carry, but not necessarily being played to during the early game, so you need that defensive capacity, and you've got it there. The Xayah and Featherstorm has decent wave player, will be fine.
I like the Orianna ban as well. Taking away
Zoe not bad down.
Yeah, true.
Firefire Zoe real good. But with the Orianna banned out, it shows they're at least thinking about Firefire and not particularly concerned. Also paying attention, if we can here, to the Azir, which has been a Firefire special as of late. We'll see what no-org are up to. EG do have the first pick here, so they could prioritize either one of those characters, functioning as a secondary ban and handing it over to Aspect.
Interesting to me that we saw the Ezreal ban as well, because that does signal that no-org thinks this might be a flex pick. Okay. That was not the flex pick. It was the Gragas. So,
yeah, if they drafted a mid laner during this cycle, I suppose it would clear up that confusion. So you get the Alistair instead. Very good support right now. That means the Gragas goes elsewhere, and we get a Sylas here in the mid lane.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
It's a lot of good ults.
Yeah, you got Lilia. Well, more importantly, Gragas and Alistar. Oh, lock it. Lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it.
We've seen this recently.
I love Mundo.
Mr. Mundo's been walking back into the meta, but we're not gonna see it here today. We're baited by the hover yet again. Matt, something about this draft has been making me gradually more emo. My hair's just kind of coming out.
Don't worry about it. It's crawling in your skin. You may want to
call me medic.
He does have that same hairstyle. It's very nice.
We got Galio to come through here as closing things out. That will be your engage support. Big, certainly very good as well. He's one of my favorite supports to watch, actually, period. no-org able to find a lot of value from the way Big plays the map, and that will be underscored here on a character like Galio with an AD carry like Xayah. Value is going to be able to be that much safer, and that will enable Big to roam across the map, be free to spend their time elsewhere.
I'm really loving the double flex bait coming out from EGP. Always makes me happy when I see it again. It's been out of style for a while, but baiting both the mid lane and the top lane picks out there, giving them the best possible draft they could find.
Yeah, EG take a swing in the draft. Question is if you think it's worked out. They have a really good team fight, that's for sure. Tons of good skirmishing power as well, because the damage is fairly well distributed. I do really like this EG draft. The problem is, no-org are flexing things around as well, as you are very slowly indicating. Firefire's taking a pick out of Jojo Pyun's book, and this will be the Renekton mid we've been seeing a little bit more of recently.
This will be really fun. One of the strengths of the Renekton is, of course, being that very traditional lane bully, especially into an AD carry. Look, it's going to be hard to approach Aspect, but the moment Firefire is able to find that spacing, Aspect is almost dead. Like, no matter what, that full combo is going to take you real low. Auto W procs that PTA. It's going to be really, really explosive in that mid lane.
And most critically, Firefire is now going to be able to survive a mistake. Right?
Yeah.
Tristana in the mid game is so scary. Now with the Renekton, you can take a couple of hits, and that's very important. Viper also getting the Silas, one of the most high damage characters on this composition, and he has built a level 1 Dark Seal.
Oh boy. That's what you're looking for here. Dark Seal, go for that scaling. Try and dominate this top lane. It will be difficult. Gragas is able to build very tanky, has some innate healing, but you're Viper. You're fine with any kind of 1v1 matchup.
We see the Dark Seal a decent amount on Silas mid, but I was thinking in my head, surely he won't do it. And I was wrong.
He would, TJ. It'll be a very chill early game. So far. I respect that. Both these teams have made it so far. I reached out to both of the coaches, and Ido gave me the prediction that it's going to be 2-0 either way. And I love that. I love that, because that just tells me that this is going to be an explosive series.
Ido says we either run it down or we pick up some real quick wins.
Exactly.
I do really like what they did with the draft. I am very impressed with Coach Ido so far.
Yeah. Okay.
Dive in the bot lane big. Skirmishing early. Not normally the call in this lane, but the Galio does have kind of added pressure. Galio during the early game. It's a threat to be reckoned with. One of the things that...
Rough time here in the mid lane for Firefire. Like, we knew this was going to happen, but wave already shoved in once again. Should be able to catch up a little bit of CS there.
I think he got all of it.
Oh, nice. Well,
had already lost out on some minions at the wave in front now, so can't even up. Cerny and Viper are trading early. This is very fun to watch as Viper ekes out a narrow lead.
Looking forward to the later stages of the game here. No Org are now... Oh no, poor Anda.
He missed!
Yeah. Spear, not quite
GG report jungler! 9x!
Oh god, sorry, I'm having flashbacks to when a Twitch stole my blue buff and blamed me. Luckily, no situation coming out here for Anda. We'll be able to find that blue buff eventually. Slows down the clear by just half a second, but this is what I'm expecting from No Org. Their recent playstyle has become, once again, shifted a lot towards that slow play. They're looking for scaling. They're looking to find setups in the later stages of the game where they can be in a position and just, oh my god, Aspect just goes in. Bam.
Yeah, and Firefire punishes him. Aspect does not have the mobility to get out of this for so long. Finally gets the rocket jump back off cooldown. Firefire just walks into a bush, and Aspect struggles with object permanence for a moment.
We've all been there. Now, mid lane going to be pretty chill here. Mist not going for any engages in bot just yet. This is a really hard lane to engage into because Galio is so good at peeling off engages. So
I do want to flag kind of the late game you were talking about, because I don't actually particularly like No Org if we go too late.
I can see
I'm
that.
Looking
yeah.
At EGP, they have the double damage threat of Kai'Sa Tristana. They have the Tristana. Alistar is one of the better scaling tanks in the game just because they get so much value from their ultimate. I feel EG do pretty well if we keep going this slow.
Yeah, I think my concern was rooted less in, oh my god, this composition does X, versus, oh my god, No Org do Y. Because it really does feel like sometimes they can be losing an early game or barely eking it out in the early mid, and then you blink and you miss it. They're up 4K gold. They found 2 dragons somehow in the span of 4 minutes. They don't care how. It's no work. They'll figure it out.
And that's something you have to watch out for if we, start setting things up. Oh, he's going to trade that even. If you start setting things up as Noorg are playing really slow, well, yes, they are, but that's because there's nothing online for Noorg to do yet. They're a very good team like C9 Academy at picking their moments and executing on them.
They, as of late, and I think...
Oh, you could have forced Aspect to stay here.
Yeah, hit 6 too. Should be able to
and Aspect can't go in because he doesn't. He assumes that this is a result of jungle presence, and Tomio's already backed.
I don't even know if a jungle presence is necessary though, because Fire hits 6 and is such a threat. Aspect will not be able to match it. Till has now finally hit 6 off that last wave, and Anda gonna help shove this one in. So Fire, Henry's. They're just gonna go for Dragon. Okay.
You have to love it. Fire has not backed once this game. This is 0 reset Fire. Finally, we'll see it.
Cast from Viper. A little bit wide. There it is. All right, at least we know Viper's in good spirits still. Cask hits 50 feet away. Just like, I just wanted to give it back to you, man. I feel like it was wrong of me to take that from you.
Hi, I'm Viper and I respect private property. Throwing it like a UPS driver. Vaguely accurate. And yet definitely not on target.
Very damaging to gets inside. Surdy, doing a good job hanging into this lane. You know, we talked about mostly how Surdy is able to convert leads early on, but as someone who ends up playing like a good weak side top lane, just great job here. Has a CS lead early on. Not going to be taking these heavy engages, not going to be going for the all-ins, because you're waiting for Shiro, you're waiting for Aspect, you're waiting for that late game. Uh-oh.
Stun found, and on the flank. Huge spear! Aspect will blow Anda away. Flash to chase. Fire over the wall. Tomio is in the area, will land the sleep, and that will save Aspect. The blast cone. Get EGP's mid laner out alive.
You know, TJ, that was a beautiful escape there, thanks to Tomio. I was double checking the moment I saw that health bar. I'm like, value is on Xayah, right? There's no jinx in this map. Always terrifying. And able to pick up that Cloud Drake. Noorg off to an objective victory.
Yeah. Really good rotations from Noorg. You don't get the kill, that sucks, but not only did they get the Drake, Fire is getting aggressive, trying to bully Tomio back because they know Tomio's down on rotations, doesn't have the ultimate to punish that aggression. Really, really well played from Noorg. You know, this is what we're talking about. You give them an inch, they take an inch.
Sure. I really feel like after watching Fire steal away the Raptors, after this set of series that we've seen, the Raptors need like a workers' union or something. This is workplace abuse.
Rough times. Rotate around this. EGP would like to be able to grab this Rift Herald. Noorg do have big here, TP in from across the map. That's going to be Fire arriving in this fight.
Mist escapes with their life. No ultimate available for either Shiro or Mist, so this would be a difficult contest running into 2 people with ultimates.
Aspect spotted out in the bush.
Yep.
Control ward is down, so this is relatively safe. Noorg again playing their map very well. Value rotates up here as well. And this should be, as big zones off the engage, a very clean Rift Herald take.
They're going to be rotating this up towards the top side. Decided better of that when they realized, hey, there's some people up here. Fire. Looking for the engage in the meantime in the mid lane onto Aspect.
Yeah, this is just the kind of very clean play that makes everyone enjoy watching Noorg games. One of the reasons why I think Noorg is one of the contenders to win this. I'm going to say it now so that I can be flamed on Twitter later. But Noorg are absolutely in my top 3 here at Proving Grounds.
Yeah,
If you
they've won
don't
every single
think that-
competition they've entered so far. Like
Yeah,
every
if
single
you-
one, first place.
do not have them on your list as top teams here at Proving Grounds, I don't know. You're entitled to your opinion, I guess, but I disagree.
Wow, strong words, TJ.
I've been practicing moderation.
There you go. Always good. Tomio trying to get a little bit aggressive there. Vision. Will be able to make it out of there with the Scuttle Crab in hand. Anda still has this Rift Herald. Clears out that control ward. And this is the pace of a no-org game. Is really just...
We're playing some good League of Legends here. Because you can see the early game gold lead that was so strong for EGP as they won basically every lane off the bat has shrunken considerably. And there is basically a gold in pocket in the form of that Rift Herald that is presumably, unless the play gets countered, going to get no-org a couple thousand more gold. And presumably, it's going to be used around the next Drake, which again would not only be the gold for the Drake itself, but also the second of the second Drake. That didn't make any sense. The second of two Drakes.
There you go.
Putting them on their way to the Drake Soul win condition.
There goes the
There we
Rift
go.
Herald drop down. Solo bot here for value. Oh.
Oh no, is he going to get the gold? I think so. It's just missed here up front, so... Gold onto value, what they wanted. Rift Herald will die. Weakens that bot side, sets up for the Drake.
Firefire keeps going in on these engages and Aspect trading back about 50-50, but if you can get Aspect low enough, you can all in with dominance, and I think that's what Firefire's looking for at this point. Top lane's just going great for EGP, though. No complaints there from them.
Certainly's doing well, but Viper hasn't arrived in mid-game teamfight form yet, right? And that is what you need to be watching out for. First item Viper is a hell of a lot more scary than lane Viper.
True. Viper
Ho-ho!
getting a little bit of damage there from Surdy, though.
That was nasty.
Heals it back up. Man, Silas, trading against Silas feels so bad, because you're like, man, I got so much damage on it, I'm so good. And then Silas hits W and heals like a third HP.
Silas read him like a book. Or sorry, Surdy read him like a book.
Turn on to the library. Here comes Firefire. Looks for the engage. Aspect so low. Big's looking for it, but there's the flash out. Big's in trouble. Taunt. First blood goes down in favor of Surdy. Tomio looks for the sleep. Finds it onto Firefire. But Tomio goes down. Firefire flashes over the wall. Survives. Shiro goes in. Killer Instinct can't find it. Meanwhile, Value finds the first tower bot.
Oh, dear Lord. A tale of two tragedies. Big oversteps, hard chasing the kill, dies underneath the turret, and Tomio does exactly the same thing. Trying to burn down the Renekton. Sure, it's mid-Renekton, but he's still a beefy boy. And during that time, of course, as you say, the bot lane turret is getting taken down. Here's the early engage.
And this was Firefire nearly just one-shotting Aspect. And then Big bites off a little bit more than he can chew there. I respect the hustle, however. And no-org, all respect given, find a return kill. Firefire somehow survives with the heals, flashes out, and then just continues to live. As you can see, Shiro, Acathian Rain, all landed on Viper.
That was actually Value's heal there, if I'm not mistaken. No, he's still got enough. I do not know where that burst of healing came from, then.
Empowered Q is a hell of a drug, man. It does so much healing, and there goes. Aspects down. Big and Firefire, enough to break this game open. That one fight, this is how no-org plays. You find one fight, you're like, we got this one. And from there, they'll find another play, another play, another play, and they'll chain it to the point where you're staring down the barrel of a gun, essentially. This is going to be a 23-minute soul, potentially, from no-org, and EGP are not in a position to contest it yet.
Yep, that Drake fight goes their way because of the mid lane fight. It's, you know, ostensibly an even trade, but the jungler dies. And that means no-org can just take the Drake for free. EGP don't have a hope of contesting it. A fact they know and a fact they act on.
Shiro does get to catch that mid-wave. Been feeling for Value this game, not because he's having a bad time or anything, but As an AD carry who often gets left for large swaths of time in the bottom lane to do nothing but farm.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's lonely, TJ. Uh-oh.
Oh, Viper steals away the sleep. Will not be able to do anything with it, though, and Mist finds the immediate return. Viper calls for aid. Here comes Fire. Dominus popped.
There's the ultimate from Mist as well, doing as much to dissuade the CC as possible, but Mist will fall. No Org, lose nobody. Slight overcommittal there from EG Prodigies.
Medium rare. Mist goes down, and this is going to unlock things because, again, No Org play this map so efficiently. They managed to get the kill onto the support, and they say, that means we can take a few cracks at this turret. That means we can force you to rotate players in to defend it, which they do. EGP read the map, say, okay, we need to put 4 players in mid, and No Org, as ever, are still, you know, playing the rest of the map in addendum. Not only is there a hard shove out topside for Viper, but you also have this roam for Big into the jungle to cut off the rotation. So Viper is guaranteed to get more turret damage. And now once the response is there on the top side to that threat from Viper, guess what's going on, Matt? It's the Rift Herald being taken. No Org just do not stop.
Now Viper in a little bit of trouble. 2-0 though, so not that much. There's the sleep, comes down, and is here as well. Viper finds the re-engage, not going to quite finish the dive. Surdy survives the burst of Anda.
Very well played. Fire's in trouble across the map though. Aspect will be able to shut it down. A mid-lane jewel.
And they're going to be popping the Rift Herald potentially. No! Instead decides to save it. Very low tower, don't need to. Got some time left on that cooldown. So I'm going to be watching where that second Herald goes. Because the only ways I can think of is mid at the moment. Obviously the last outer tower standing. But you need to find an opportunity to do that. And knowing No Org, they'll make it happen.
You are correct. At some point, he will press the 4 button on his keyboard, Matt.
Is that really the default binding of Trinket?
Yeah.
Huh. I use T because I have items on 1, 2, 3, 4. I learned something new today.
I'm bewildered, but okay. Yes, I also have items on 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what it is. It's an item. Okay. We're gonna.
You said 4 was the hotkey for the Herald. That's not an item.
Yeah. The trinket. It's the word. It's in the 4th slot.
That is a weird setup. I changed it the moment it came out, so I haven't remembered because it's been like 4 years.
I also put flash on D, so I know I'm wrong about some things. But
oh yeah. Oh. Wouldn't admit to that on a live broadcast, but you know what? You do you.
I had to balance out. Drake is coming up. This is presumably what we use the Rift Herald for. 4 being the operative phrase is the button that will be pushed. Teamfight wise, there is a lead gold. Wow, there is a gold lead in No Org's pocket, and that will give them a teamfight advantage as well as their composition. So this needs to be a good engage from EGP. I'm looking for them to be able to stop Viper, stop Anda, stop Fire early on.
Mist finds the engage. There's the taunt in response from Big. Lots of damage down onto Aspect. Gets taken down by Big. Shiro still free-firing in the back, though. 30 looking for a re-engage. Tomio, seconds from falling, finally does. But Shiro still up. Cannot find Fire. The healing from No Org keeps everyone alive. And now EGP, Shiro, tail between his legs, will have to back off to that inner tower.
And this is such a No Org play. They do not need to turn immediately for the Dragon. They will send Anda to do that. And the rest of the team, they're going to be here in mid, taking 2 turrets. Maximum efficiency. Such good capitalization on the opportunity. And they're even going to get another charge off, I believe. Drake picked up 3rd of the game, sole points, 2 turrets taken.
This is No Org's game by all accounts. I do think there is the opportunity for EGP to come back into it, but let's take a look at this fight again. There it is.
And caught out here, which is the right call. Mist finds the right target. But nobody's on value. So they're just chilling here. Finally, Surdy tries to find the engage, and Values have the Featherstorm this entire time. Featherstorms the explosive cask, ends the fight. Vivefire cannot die in the front lines.
Yeah, that healing from Vivefire was so ridiculous. You just have such a health lead from having your lane go well, from having those levels, and there isn't enough damage on EGP to do anything about it. You know, you have one item on Aspect, you have one item on Shiro, but between the two of them, with the front lines that are coming out, with heals from Anda, there is so little you can do to actually burst Vivefire down with those heals.
Viper will be scared back here on the top side by Aspect. And that is what EGP still do have going for them. If we go late, you have both Shiro and Aspect who are scary on these AD carry characters.
They
it
have the
is
scaling in their
not looking
pocket,
that way.
yeah. 100%.
On the flank, the Dark Seals, bought for both Anda and Viper, and scaling in both cases. Neither player has died yet. I obviously need to flag the fact that Aspect has now a 5 assist count, decent amount of gold in the pocket. That's going to be a very strong secondary carry. There's just so much skirmish potential on No Org. They have a lot of damage across the board. And comps like this are sometimes dangerous because if you don't get off to a strong start, they can be shut down. They did get off to a strong start, a very cleverly played strong start. And at this point, they just need to clear the runway before they run out of it, which is, what, 40-minute mark?
Yeah, somewhere around there, at least 35. Aspect looking for a little bit more damage. Finds some on to Big, goes in for the re-engage. Too much bitten off there. Viper finds the kill. And that will be their cue to look for more here for No Org.
Big guiding him in. Aspect steps into the chocolate factory. Thinks it's going to be a good time, and Willy Wonka turns him into a giant pack of chewing gum or something.
Blueberry.
It's an extended analogy. Here come EGP trying to contest this Baron. They just can't.
They've got nothing here. Viper's doing the damage on the Surdy, who could engage, but nothing to follow up. There's Vivefire from the flank. They might not even need Baron this game. Shiro in a lot of trouble. There comes the hero's entrance onto Mist. They're going to find the knockups to follow up. But Vivefire, not quite enough damage. Shiro pounding away with that Acathian Rain. Mist, one hit from dead. There it goes. Shiro once again,
big.
Last one standing.
I think that's Big's third kill of the game. Shout out to Galio's support. It is a lot of fun, and Big has been doing an incredible job on it. Running the Sorcerer's Boots. That's a fun time.
Oh my god. I have a newfound respect for Big. Already thought he was a fantastic support. Now I know. Also, very confident.
When he's playing like this, you could say he's big.
Giant. You got
Large.
That's right.
Have you seen that photoshopped photo of the entire No Org team, and Big has just been stretched to take up half of the foot?
That's amazing. Someone said that to me. That sounds fantastic.
You'll receive it. It goes around. Here's the team fight. There's just no way EGP win it at this point. Viper's on the front lines. He can do that because he's stolen away Alistair ult, and so nobody can challenge. Vipefire's, you know, distracted. He's minding his own business on the bottom side of the map, realizes, oh wait, we're team fighting. Steps up into this, and it's pretty easy to clean up.
Yeah,
it's hard for EGP because you can see that they do have, like, you can see Shiro's doing decent damage, as is Aspect. But you can see that they're just so far behind, right? Doesn't matter if you're dealing decent damage to Vivefire.
Yeah, Big is a little bit of trouble, but there goes the main engage in the front. Value finds Surdy. Aspect on the run on the right side of the fight on the left side. Meanwhile, Tomio just getting dumped down by Vivefire. Mist now in trouble. Aspect finally falls thanks to Anda. No Org have found the ace. 24 minutes in, No Org have found a victory in game number 1. 20 seconds left on the death timers of all of Evil Geniuses. No Org find a quick, clean, surgical victory.
And this is what they do. This is why No Org should be top of your list for teams that could take this entire tournament. There is never a moment of risk. There is never a moment that looks risky or dangerous at all for them. They control the game, play to their win conditions, and end it very, very cleanly.
Yeah, it often feels
Still
like
emo.
on a micro level, Noarg just sit there for so long. They're biding their time and they're waiting, and then the moment they see their first play, that's when the game starts to end. And I think going into game number 2, what I would like to see from EG is the only time I've seen Noarg begin to falter is if they get taken off their plans. If they're not the ones setting up for fights, if they're not the ones deciding the game flow, they can get put off on the back foot. All it takes, one good push to topple them over.
Yeah, so Noarg do a thing going into the game with their draft where they decide what their optimal engage time is. They know what they're waiting for as their trigger. In that last game, it is, okay, we're going to fight for the first Drake. We need first item. We need a decent amount of damage on our mid and bot lane to feel comfortable doing that. The advantage of that is you have time to work with until they feel comfortable. So if you can play around that, and there's 2 ways you can do that. There's 2 ways we've seen teams succeed into Noarg's ability to define their engage timing. Is 1, you don't fight them on their engage timing. You say, okay, we're playing late games, we're just not going to take any of these early fights, Noarg. We're going to hold you back from building too much of an advantage, but we're going to let you control the map, and we'll swing back in the late game. The other one is challenging them during that time when they're trying to set up, being able to be risky early. But if you're going toe-to-toe with Noarg and you don't have exactly as firm an idea as they do of what their win conditions are, when they're going to pull the trigger, it's a recipe for disaster.
Stop the setup, stop the push. You'll find a way to stop Noarg, but otherwise, it's going to be a quick 2-0 for them. We'll see if EG Prodigies can bite back in game number 2. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.